So currently we're about 120 feet above sea level. The river is a rather steep drop, and you can see it just there. So you can certainly see that it has risen. This place here is called Jack's Magazine. So it has taken over the bike track, that's for sure. This is one of the drops and paths down to the river. So we're about 130 feet above, about 120 feet actually. We're down here at Maribrynong Harbour. There's crazy crepes. Saw me a walkway there which is now underwater, and the walkway down to the actual river is completely underwater. The floating pontoon has remained intact, but the gangway to the pontoon, you can see there, it's sloping down. It normally slopes down to the floating pontoon, but now it's floating down to the walkway. Man over here's got his boat ready.
It wasn't this wide, was it? What's that? Down there.
So to the right is towards the city, or towards Port Phillip Bay. And to the left heads north up to Essen.
Down there, and you want to turn right to go Mooney, it's all blocked off. Even behind High Point to go to Mooney, it's all blocked off. The nước nó liền nó cao quá, không có đi được.
Alright, so I just broke away from the tour group. As I was doing my narration, I somehow became a bit of a local expert, fielding a few questions here and there. As we head back into the harbour area. So again, the floating pontoon does its job. There's a walkway down to it, so that there would indicate that's about 6 foot of flooding on the walkway. And normally this is divided between the Maribrynong Harbour and the river. And you can see how the river is flowing downstream from the left. And this is the pace of the debris. And if you look over there, that's where the actual river is, so and it's flowing quite rapidly, so you can get out there very shortly. So I've never seen this many people out and about, but we'll push on. And those park benches underwater. You can see more debris heading down the river. Well, this is actually still the Maribrynong Harbour. The river system itself is, actually you see that bridge just over there. And you see how fast the river is actually flowing. So this is still technically the Maribrynong Harbour, a little inlet of waterways. push on up to the north so we can get near the river. You can see all types of debris, tyres, bins. And we've got more debris, chairs, more bins. The news helicopters in the air. The lady just said to me, do you think I should go down and pick up all those plastic items there? I said, no lady, that is sludge, mud and water. So people asking me how affected I am. That's the down here at ground level, and I'm up there, so you can sort of see a bit of a climb to get up to where we are. With the Jack's Magazine car park. So I've just come from the lower ground back up to the higher ground, just off Gordon Street. I'm now heading down to Pipe Makers Park. And I just spoke to a resident who said she just come from down there, and where the playground equipment at Pipe Makers Park is, that's where the water is. And she was telling me that she stood there for about 10 minutes and the water rose quite dramatically in the space of 10 minutes. We'll push on down here and see what we can see. Okay, well here we are at the entrance to Pipe Makers Park. Quite surprisingly, the gates are still open there. That's High Point City Shopping Centre, but you see the road has been closed off for access down to Van Ness Avenue, which is a steep drop down towards Maribrynong Road in the river itself. So we'll push down here to see what we can see at Pipe Makers Park. We've just left the car park of Pipe Makers Park and we're coming into the picnic and playground area, and yes, as you can see, the water level has risen, covering the playground equipment and up to the picnic area. And this looks like our end of the road here. There you are.
Yeah, I was going to take him for a walk, but I can't get very far.
You can see the bridge across there. So that's the river flowing right there. You can see the playground equipment over there. So just a couple of facts of concern about the Maribrynong River. So the actual river, where it starts up in the Mount Macedon area, forming part of the Great Dividing Range, is actually 42 metres above the level where it ends down near Port Phillip Bay. So the wind is pushing from the north to the south, so left to right, and that's where you can see how the tidal surge, I suppose, is going that way with the wind. So as more rain falls from the north up near Riddles Creek, that will push down the river, causing the flood to rise here. So from the Port Phillip Bay up to Mount Macedon, the river's whole length is about 40 kilometres, so about 25 miles, 40 kilometres, and it's got that 42 metres in height difference from the start to the bottom of it. It's now 9:55, and about 8-9 minutes ago when I first arrived here, that line, this path was not underwater, but you can actually see how fast it's coming up. So I'll stay here for another 5 minutes and we'll see how far it comes up. You can actually see the water seeping towards us. Same spot, 2 minutes later, it's now 9:57. Oh, it's now 10:01. About 6 minutes ago I started to film in this spot here. I haven't moved. You can see how far the water is encroaching. And the reason the water is still rising is that further north up the river system towards Mount Macedon is 42 metres above where the bottom of the river joins Port Phillip Bay down near Cody Island. And you can still see the tidal currents, the surge pushing from left to right, so from the north to the south. This is Pipe Makers Park. A couple of eshos there, and the Year 12 muck-up day, no doubt. Skipping school. Alright, we might push back up to head back down, see if we can get down behind Jack's Magazine and have a look down there. Well, I'll just come down through the La Scala apartments. You've got Jack's Magazine just there in the top of the city. As you can see, the River Rise has crept up fairly far. We'll pop down here and have a look around. So that's where we checked in last time, just behind that tree there. And this is normally open ground. As we just survey around. We're lucky, hopefully that retaining wall at the Jack's Magazine will hold the historic World War II magazine storage place. In good stead. I'm just walking down here. This is in the Samsung S22 Ultra film. A great phone with a great video. And we can start to have a glimpse of how fast the actual Maribrynong River is flowing. So normally beyond that fence there, it's probably over 10 to 12 metres. Like, look at that chair go there. See if we can just get zoom in there and grab an image of that. Pop out here in a second. There it goes. Look at those two chairs. One chair maybe. And this is about the furthest point that we can go. Little bubbles happening there. Not sure what's causing that though. All around. Yeah, so normally where that transmission tower is, that'll be just on the river's edge. You can see the tree line just along the transmission tower. That's where the river banks normally are. And just for the record, today is Friday the the 14th of October, I do think. Hopefully it is. I'm still down here at Jack's Magazine. I was just watching how fast it's actually flowing. That is flowing rather fast. That's not even the actual river system. That's floodwater. And if I had to have a guess, I'd usually say that'd be probably a metre, maybe. You've got the fence there, it's higher ground. But yeah, when you look at the river system is a little bit further below, which you can see above the floodwater, or beyond the floodwater. Oh, here we go. About 30 seconds ago, I just marked this spot here with my foot and turned around to film the helicopter. In the space of 30 seconds, the water's starting to cover. So the water was just there. Now it's up here. So it's still rising down here at the Jack's Magazine. I'll check back in 5 minutes time. Well, it's 4 minutes since our last video, and you can see there that this second mark just there was a good 10 centimeters on dry gravel, and now it's starting to take in water. So yeah, the river is still rising and rising quite fast. As you can see it seep and come in from there. And that was in 4 minutes. There's plenty of helicopters out having a look around. Obviously maintaining visual flight rules, that being that close to each other. We'll just come up to the intersection of Moreland and Bunbury Street in Footscray. There in the foreground you can see the city views, and we can still see how fast the river is flowing. So I head down here and check it out a bit further. Suffice to say, there is a little bit of traffic jams out and about. It took about 22 minutes to get to this point by car. Interesting enough, I get here 12 minutes on bike, if the bike path was open, of course. This is about probably 4 or 5 k's down the road where we left off from filming further up river. And you can see the pace of the river. A lot of emergency services out today. I've seen some ambulance, SES. We got police over there. Normally you see a lot of kayakers in this river. There's a rowing club just upstream there. We've got law enforcement over there doing something. Not sure what. Interesting to note, a lot of the debris that we saw further up is not travelling down this far. That is out of the river system, and this is the actual river system. Here's the first hint of flooding or river rises down further in the Footscray area. And we just sort of walk away down here and walk down there. So a lot of traffic jams around, including Docklands Highway. Moving rather slowly. So the Port of Melbourne just over there. Might be able to see some of the shipping activity. There's one of the cranes. There's some maritime activity. I'm not sure who these people are. This is a quick example of the power of the river. Actually, there goes a bollard. I would suggest that that bollard is breaking the 5-knot speed limit for the Maribrynong River. 5 knot is roughly about 8.7 kilometres. Right, this angle here is looking back north of Docklands Highway, Melbourne City, and the Port of Melbourne just there. You can see the top of the cargo ships and the mouth of the opening or the start of the Maribrynong River. It's probably a further 600 metres that way. That leads into the Yarra River and then into which obviously leads into Port Phillip Bay. New bike path construction going on. We're now about 800 metres up from where we left off, under the Hopeton Bridge, which takes us on the Dynon Road and the rock climbing wall. For those that are familiar, there's the Chinese temple up there. As you can see, it is at the top. Still flowing quite fast. A good example of the floating pontoon that rises with the river or sea level. Nearby streets over there almost flooded or are flooded. I think that's what those law enforcement people were doing back further there, blocking off the road. Seagulls enjoying a ride. Back again, almost dropped my phone. Water keeps coming down from the north up there. Now up on the Hopkins Street or Hopetoun bridge, which goes on the Dynon Road. You can see law enforcement, traffic patrol blocking the road here. And we're just going to try to zoom down here and have a look. Yeah, we're just on top of the bridge now. Good to see construction is still ongoing. Oh, and here we got FRV Fire Rescue Victoria coming out to an incident. Up to 47. Alright, so we got law enforcement down there. Helping people come out of the side streets. Dynon Road is underwater. Four drivers got to very carefully cross the medium strip there. There's a car coming out somewhere. We're just on the other side of the river, which we've mainly been filming on. As more rain starts to fall. So over there you get the Hopeton Bridge that leads on the Diamond Road to yourself. Our river cruise. All Beeline services over there still running. Well, I'll wrap this up. Hope you've enjoyed the Friday the 14th of October 2022 Maribrynong River flood update. If you are watching the video, feel free to let me know where you're watching from. And if you got this far, thanks for watching.